Yes, and we are live on YouTube already, going up for Facebook Live and finally Instagram Live. Hello, and welcome to another live with me. Today is live number 6. So, for the past couple of months, 4 months, in fact, I was doing a live every 2 weeks because that was the load that I was able to manage as compared to previously when I had a helper, I could do it every week. And being able to have that kind of consistent energy really creates momentum. And it was one thing that I really want to share, and in fact was one of the advice that I gave to a client today in order to complete her last package. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Long time no see. Yeah, in order for her to complete her package. So what she actually bought like a 6 months social media coaching with me. And in the last month, she actually met a live road bump. Suddenly it threw her off course. In my opinion, I think it's just a small life bump, but of course, to everybody, it's like the biggest thing that can ever happen. So when she shared with me, she said that, she was fearing, she just wants to go into, her cave mode. And I could really tell that it was her survival mode kicking in. It was the fight, flight, or freeze mode. And clearly it was her freeze mode. It was like, I need to stop everything. I won't be able to be managed so many things at the same time. I'll be thrown off course. And that was when I noticed that shift. I didn't say anything. And she came back to me about 2 months later and asking me, like, hey, can I complete my last month? It was then when I actually reached out, shared with her and said that, it is not so much like life always throws us distractions, life always throws us circumstances to not to test us, but I would say to strengthen our resolve to the things that we love. And that is completely true because just before I came here, I wasn't feeling my best. Today was a whole day of very tiring home errands. I didn't even have time to update my Canva. But I told myself that I'm going to commit to a bi-weekly live. That's what I've been doing for my 5 other lives the past 3 months. I'm not going to stop my momentum. And that's the thing, for us, it is always that push beyond our comfort zone that really tells us this is what I love. This is what is serious to me. This is what is going to get me off the couch. This is what is going to get me off the bed as well. No doubt I was almost going to fall asleep, but I was like, I had so many things that I want to share with everybody, especially coming in today is a beautiful topic, leading in love, loving the woman from within. And if you actually see all of my other lives titles, everything is about love. Everything is about self-love. It's about self-identity. It's about knowing yourself. Really hearing and having that direction on who you are. And especially as mothers, when we play such a pivotal role in families, it is even more crucial that we get so anchored to what do I love? Who am I? Am I here just to service my family? Am I just born here to spend, after having good education, spending a good 10 years on my own? Am I here to just service my kids, my husband, just being on that standby mode so that if anything, any balls at home drop, I'm the one to catch it. Am I just here to serve? I would want to share with you that every woman, we definitely not. It is definitely not your role and not your responsibility to spend your time right now servicing the family. And this is when I, even for myself, where as a stay-at-home mother, I never drop the ball into what I love, even when it means having less life. Like in the past, I would be able to do a weekly live, but right now I do not have a helper at home. So I'm managing, whatever little time that I have. Okay. Scheduling out posts, I'm editing clips. Like I think this morning I just spent about 1.5 hours editing like 3 videos already that can go out as reels, and spending extra time, even. Okay. And that's on top of like prioritizing my sleep, taking care of my kids. And what I realize is that the more we can put on our plate, the stronger that we become. The more that we can put on our plate, the stronger where we become. I never expected myself to be managing without a helper, honestly, because if you see every way around you, the family, the dynamics, it's always like, okay, you have kids, you're gonna need permanent live in help, okay, but of course, in order to have calibrate your helper to a great standard, which I did previously, it requires a lot of expended energy into her. It's like having another human to take care of. Okay, her mental, her emotional well-being being taken care of. And towards the end, I asked myself, is this worth it? And especially towards the end, when my baby wasn't so needing so much physical care anymore, am I needing to spend this amount of energy into a human, or should I just be spending whatever energy that I have, okay, into my work and enjoying that mental space? So when my helper left, everything, came apart as well. Of course, I put it on my personal account, the reels. Okay, everything came apart. It was very challenging. I fell sick. Everybody fell sick. And we cope without having cooked meals at home. Okay, no, but who, and fights happen. Who's gonna do the dishes? When are the laundry being done, and so on. But a couple of months later, I would say that it was probably one of the best decisions that could have happened naturally by the universe. Okay, and even when my husband still asks me like, "Hey, do you want to help?" I'm like, I don't think so. Because I find myself being able to experiment, try and error, and of course, being able to overcome daily minute fears and challenges and resistance every day seeps into other areas of our life. Seeps into other areas of our life. How often do we always like, okay, I need help, I need somebody to save me, I need somebody to change the situation. But how often are we going through a period of discomfort? And it is through the period of discomfort there's always the greatest growth. But there always through the greatest discomfort, that's the greatest growth as well. You are forced to push beyond your own resistance. And I think for myself, it was kind of like underestimating what I can do. I didn't realize that I was able to find efficient ways, start to uh re- release tasks that weren't even necessary. And that's why, like, my husband says, there's so many things at home that needs to be done. I say you have to truly ask yourself, like, what do you truly need in this home in order to survive, and it's all good. Maybe you think that you need 1 to 10 being done, but the truth is that as long as these three things that are done, clothes are washed every day, we have our meals settled, okay, the kids go to school, everybody's not sick, that's good enough. And I think it also led to a lot of appreciation and gratitude for the small things in life that in the past I would probably neglect. So I would say that, overcoming daily minute fears and challenges is one crucial aspect that we never thought but is necessary for life to happen. Because every time I choose to wash the clothes despite the dirty laundry, every time I choose to mix steamed vegetables even though I don't feel like eating them, every time I choose to wake up at 5:30 to meditate even though I feel tired, okay, builds a kind of momentum. There is always the small actions, and it's that many jobs that make an ocean. All right, many jobs and make an ocean. So the same goes for becoming the woman to feel who loves herself from within. Everything is about self-love, everything is about self-care, and of course, self-identity. So 3 months ago, I made a powerful decision where I decided to shift the way my relationship with myself, the way how I decided that, in spite of me managing a lot of tasks at home, it still doesn't take away the fact that I need to take care of myself, physically, mentally, emotionally. It still doesn't take away the fact that I have my own dreams, that I have my own needs, and that I gotta stay on top of everything. Okay, I started finding routines. Okay, physically wise, I started, gymming once a week. But then came another challenge where once a week it was difficult to hit because, my monthly ladies thing came. Okay, I needed to rest. My baby fell sick. I felt tired. I need to sleep. And, a lot of small little things became to hinder my that one and only gym session. 2 weeks, 3 weeks passed without gym. I felt bad. I didn't feel like gymming again, and then rebuilding that momentum. And then there was when I decided that, hey, why not just the big actions? Why not the small actions like building in 30 minutes workout every other day? I started finding short videos, like one that was on building strength training, another one was working on my core, another one that was working on my glutes. And even if I miss that big session, which I'm going to miss tomorrow, it's okay because my small actions can collectively add up to a big move. And that is one thing that we apply to all areas of our lives, and especially when it comes to self love as well. We always, hey, so nice to see you. Yeah, we always think that is that big move, is that big facial that we're looking for, is that big spa retreat. Oh, I need to get away from my family for 3 days, 2 nights. Then I'll able to focus on myself. Absolutely not. You can start making moves to care for yourself. How? In different ways, like every time your kid decides to, every time there's a chaotic situation at home, somebody screams, instead of always reacting immediately, pause for a second. Like, nobody, no, like, it will be taken care of. Nobody is dying. It will be okay. Put on your face mask, put on your face cream, and then settle them. Whereas in the past, what I would do, I would just drop everything. And when many times collectively it kept happening to me, I felt very exhausted. I felt very drained because I was always waiting, and my body was somehow on an alert system. There was always waiting for something to happen to take care of other people before I take care of myself. So I started becoming very intentional. I started pausing before reacting. And I think that's a very big thing that we tend to neglect, to pause first before we react. We are so quick to always defend ourselves in conversations. We're always so quick to argue back. We're always so quick to say that, hey, it was your fault. It was not externalizing the problem. But when we actually learn how to pause and take a deep breath, okay, number one, you don't have to react immediately. Hey, oh, you, so nice to see you here. Yeah, you don't have to react immediately. Number one, if you don't react, nobody dies, and it's okay. You give it a couple of times, it trains your body, it trains the people around you that, hey, mommy is not around to take care of you all the time. Like, you guys go handle your situation. In due time to come, people will learn. In due time to come, people will learn. And I think that's one thing that we have to be we have to do more of. So start to let go of the ball so that the people around us can take care of themselves. How many times do we always come in to save other people? Number one, is not necessary. Number two, we are also sending the wrong message to them that they can't take care of themselves. Hold on. All right. So when I started to, I gotta take care of myself more because I'm managing so many home fronts. I'm managing my kids' schedule. I'm managing the food. I'm managing the housework all by myself. I'm also managing, and I still want to take care time for my social media work. How am I going to manage so many things? It becomes even more necessary that you got to put yourself on top. And it comes through three areas: physical, mental, and emotional. Physical, of course, I won't mention too much when you can see in the things that I do. But in terms of mental, that's what I said about having that mental boundaries. Okay, can you drop the glass ball that seems to be glass but actually is not exactly a glass ball? Can you be the person that says that, hey, you don't need me, you can handle it by yourself? When you do that, you are entrusting the people around you to take care of themselves. People start building that self trust and they stop looking for you, which is great because now everybody can take care of themselves. It is having that very delicate balance to um, let people grow in their own ways while you grow in your own ways as well. So that's when it's not just about I have to always be there for other people. And if I'm not there, I feel guilty. I feel shameful. I feel like I'm disappointing other people. That's your negative emotional turmoil stuck in there. And that's also what's limiting the people around you from growing, which is what I released in a reel yesterday about how your partner's rises is on his own. It is not through force. It is not through nagging. It's not through pushing, chasing, pursuing, smothering with TLC, which I find that that's what a lot of women do. Thinking back, I had growing up, I had friends that were turning to me for relationship advice, even though I wasn't attached a lot. I don't know why. Okay, but they were telling me, say that, hey, like they in hindsight, it was a bit of smothering. The partner is always like pursuing, like messaging him, always taking the initiative, always like, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? Always prioritizing the guy. And it stems off really from, in due time, the guy would just be the one leaning back and I don't need to mention this in a couple of all my other videos. I talk about overfunctioning many, many, many times, that we have been trained by our grandmothers and our mothers to overfunction as the default way, as a caring partner, as a caring mother. That anything less looks mean, anything less looks not nice, and like it looks very unmotherly. Like as a mother, you're supposed to smother your kids. That is people's definition of mothering. But in actual feminine way, it is not. You actually end up stepping into the man's boundaries of lifting his workload, that he gets to lean back, he gets the easy way out. But that's not the kind of relationship that we want. So if you want an activating relationship where the guy steps up to own his own power, he learns, he fights his own battles with his armors, with his shield, you gotta step back. Okay, you gotta step back. And I think in the previous video, I also talked about how I had two girlfriends that came to me and I asked them, like, I indirectly I say that, why are you fighting his battle? Like, why are you fighting his battle? Oh, thank you. I didn't know I hit the nail. Yeah, it's true, right? Yeah, why are you fighting his battle? He fights his own battle. He picks up his own armor, his shield. He finds a way to get to the cave to slay the dragon, and he gets the credit. You know, he gets the credit. Don't take it from him. Don't take it from him. And I feel so glorious, especially when like my partner fights his own battles. Okay, recently, so I'm very inspired to work out because I see him working out, and I have no shame in giving him a lot of credits for that. Like you know, it's very inspiring to see how he's dedicated he is to his workout routine, inspired rain or shine, and that also motivated me, okay, to also step up in my own ways, and the whole time I was just watching a whole scene play out. I didn't nag at him. I didn't give suggestions. I didn't say, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do that. Vicky, why didn't you do that? Okay, maybe you can adjust this a little bit better. That is the mother energy. That is the mothering energy that you, especially for boys, okay, I don't even think we should be doing that at a young age. Like, I think my kid is already 2 years old, but I'm like, you know what? You want to do your own thing? Sure, no problem. I'll be happy to let you do that. And he's like, hey, mama, I want to do this. Hey, let me do it. I will do it by myself, you know? And it's very adorable to see that because he's developing that self leadership. And that's what I want him to be. I want him to lead himself. He wants to lead his family, to lead the women, to lead the community, to lead his friends. That is a prerequisite for him to fight his own battle because a man only earns the honor through the battles that he fights. So even when people come to, and when even if I hear triggers like, hey, why you're not helping, you know, you're so mean, blah blah, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing and it's for your own good. Even when it doesn't seem that way, even when your own mother probably smothered you, but deep down they do not like it. Deep down it irritates them and it doesn't give them space, which today when I posted, I cut up my reel and I said that we gotta give them space. We gotta give them space to grow, make mistakes. Oh gosh, why did I even talk about it? I'm supposed to talk about women in self-love. Yeah, okay, we gotta give them space to love themselves, to fight their own battles. And when we give them space, this is exactly what we do, which I'm going back to the topic. We build our own inner garden. Okay, we build our own inner garden. And what's our inner garden all about? Our inner garden is not about, okay, finding the next tuition class to send them or like, you know, planning a date night. Our inner garden, what do I love to do? Do I love to read? Do I love to swim? Do I love to, you know, arrange flowers? Who was I before I became a mother? Okay. And I am so, like, I use this as my koto tan. Like, remembering who you are before you became a mother is vital to anchoring ourselves, especially in a family unit, you know, staying strong, staying on top, so that we don't get sucked into all the problems, into problem solving energy, because it stops other people from growing as well. We have our own garden to retreat to. So whenever like I find myself maybe over functioning a little bit or going into overdrive, I retreat into my inner garden, which of course social media is my inner garden. You would see I love doing all these. I love sharing my wisdom. I love cutting up reels and like hearing myself on playback because I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want to speak about. And then of course receiving positive feedback from people who say, oh my god, like I resonate with you, and I'm like, yeah, I understand. So this inner garden is something that really enriches you, it enriches your soul, and it's something that probably maybe you did before you had kids, there was a part of it, but it died along the way because you got pregnant, blah blah blah, tending to the kids. Start finding yourself once again. Start going out by yourself without your kids. Start, maybe, okay, read books, I would also say a little bit, but I find always like changing the environment, going out, putting on makeup, like, I want to go Gardens by the Bay by myself. I don't want to be like nagging over the kids. I go by myself. I want to watch a movie by myself. I go by myself. Like I said it 4 videos ago, if we take leave for other people, okay, why are we not taking leave for ourselves? Okay, and especially in a corporate job where you need to take leave. Okay, so learning how to love yourself always comes from building that inner garden where we are so resistant to doing it because, okay, it takes up time, it takes up energy. One of the things that I did where I shared a couple of videos ago was, in spite of me being very tired after the end of the day, I go downstairs for a walk because it is there that I let the wind blow. I kind of like recap about how the day went. I take deep breath. I do deep walking. And I start to remember, like, what did I not love today? And maybe there were conflicts, maybe there were unhappy moments that happened in the day. But I let it all melt away so that I can go to bed feeling like me. That's what I do after I go downstairs for half an hour walk. Okay, I come up, I just change up, and then I go to sleep. And it feels so refreshing as compared to, like, you know, putting myself to sleep after the kids sleep. It's just like a continuation of and you wake up, it's kids' responsibility again. So I think we have to be very judicious and being very mindful about how we can cultivate our own self. Because again, the only when we cultivate our own self, we feel, like I said, retreat to your inner garden. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's a distraction, but when you actually tend to your inner garden, you end up not over functioning. You end up like stepping away from that micro energy and going into that macro, where you start to look at the things at home from a very bird eye point of view and start to see that, hey, maybe this problem that I thought was very big wasn't so big after all. Okay, and especially if you are somebody like likes to go there and fix issues, right? It's even more important for you to do that. Okay, so when you start to shift that, I can tell you that the energetic shift in your relationship is immense. For once, your husband is going to sense that, your partner is going to sense that, hey, she dropped the ball. Okay, they have the space to figure things out. They have the darkness, they have the silence to figure out, like, do I want this, do I not want that? Or instead of her every time always like, hey, do you want like steak and eggs? Okay, and you serve right to his nose and he eats it because you serve it to his nose, but it's not like he's gonna get it himself. So there's a very big difference. Men have to work towards what they love, and especially if you are the woman that they love, let them work towards you. Let them pursue you once again. Let them come and ask you, like, hey, what are we doing tonight? Hey, you want to watch a show? Hey, like, what are you don't be the one always be the one keep planning, which I fell into that trap previously before. And I felt that it was because I was craving for a lot of connection. Then I asked myself, that is it because I'm losing the connection with myself? That's when the inner garden concept came up, and I just dropped everything. And it came, and there can only be one chaser and one prey in every dynamics. Okay, choose to be the prey. Choose to be the prey. It's no fun being the hunter. It's no fun being the hunter. It's very tiring. It's exhausting. And for the women, it actually depletes us in due time to come. It makes us bitter, resentful, because we were not built to chase. Okay, men are built to chase, but we not. But when we end up taking that role away from them, they get to be the prey. They get to have the easy way out. They and I don't think it is nice down the road, because we start to like become so resentful to them. We start being bitter and like, hey, why you not doing this lah, why you not doing that lah, I mean, my husband for what lah, we start, blah, blah, blah. We start complaining and everything. Okay, so start again, have that inner garden and start connecting with yourself more, loving the woman for who you are first, before he knows how to love you, before he knows what to give to you. If you give yourself rest, okay, he's gonna realize that you gotta back off and let you rest when it's due time. If you are the one always like, okay, I'm gonna do things non-stop, I'm gonna do it doing non-stop, he's gonna be expecting that kind of momentum from you. So when I was doing that for a period of time, it exhausted me. And then also like, my husband's like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. And then I was like, wow, this is so tiring. And then I suddenly stopped. And then he was like, oh, like I thought you actually, you were having this good momentum in like doing things. Like, why you decided to stop doing things? Of course, there will be a period of a gap of like, whenever things change, people sense that change. And especially our partners are always the first to change. It comes off in terms of, squabbles, conflicts, nitpicking. But i.e., they're actually sensing this shift in dynamics. What women always tend to do is give in to like this kind of conflicts, like, oh, he wants me to do more, okay, I do to pacify the situation. Number one, it kills your authentic expression in due time to come. Number two, it ends up suppressing your self-expression, and you end up being resentful in due time, which is something that I experienced. And you will keep giving yourself without any form of without any form of recharge. Okay, and for women, we gotta recharge. I don't know, men like they don't need to, but we women, we have to. Okay, it's extremely vital because every energy that we give away to the home, it is a part of us giving ourselves away, which explains why staying on top, having that physical, mental, emotional well-being routines is vital, especially if you start to have more and more workload. I start to realize that the routines that I have for myself is even more strict, and I would say high level, as compared to before I had a helper, to when I had a helper. Like I didn't even remember having this kind of like, okay, emotion, even thinking about authentic self-expression, about expressing in real time, or instead of in the past, what would happen is that even there was conflicts, I would just like keep quiet and not realizing that I needed to express in real time. I needed to say that, hey, I didn't like this when you say that. It felt unfair for me. I wasn't even to articulate them in words. I wasn't even able to articulate them in words. And then that's when again a rule that I just made, I said about, if you start to realize that there is a lack of safetiness for you to say, is it because you are not saying it to yourself? And that was when I realized that. Okay, so everything that is reflected in our relationship, hey, hi. Okay, everything that's reflected in our relationship is a chance for us to rectify the relationship with ourselves first before we see the positive outcomes in reflected in our partner, because our partner only knows how to love us when we love ourselves. True. Everybody only knows how to love us when we love ourselves, when we show them that this is how it's being done. That's why the things, boundaries, okay, clear boundaries gotta be set. You can't talk to mommy that way, you can't talk to your wife that way, you can't talk to your sister that way. This is what you should say, this is what like I cannot accept, and if you want to continue saying that, I'm out of here. You got to set clear boundaries. You got to be able to know how to express yourself in real time with grounded energy, with no drama. No, like, oh my God, why do you say that? I feel so hurtful. Da, da, da. No drama, because guys, they do not comprehend drama, and it makes them shut down even more. Being able to speak with clarity, with groundedness, that's why I say retreating into your inner gardens helps you do that, because it helps you get away from all that, oh, I really don't like it when he does it, all that negative resentment. It gets you away from that, and you start to look at it from a very clear up point of view. What was I truly upset about? Okay, the next time around that he says that, you have your SOP. The next time around that he acts in a way that you do not like, you have your SOP. You can say outright, and you can express it in real time. I find that expressing in real time was far more beneficial than I thought. And it's not about changing the outcome. A lot of women think that, oh, 我跟他讲他也不会听的. I feel so disappointed that I can't change the situation. They get attached to the result before it arrives. When men sense that you are very attached to wanting the result first, they shut down, because they end up being an executioner. Again, I say they only want to claim honor for anything that they fight for. So if it's a battle that they fight, they get the honor. But if it's a battle that you like, you take the armor, you take the battle, you go in there and fight the dragon, they're not good. They don't like it, and even if they do it, they're gonna do it for like pacify you so that you will stop bugging them. It is just temporary you get what you want temporary but not permanent. What we want is that permanent change. What we want is that, that permanent, I take your words seriously, I'm going to change from now on. That's what we want from that. And you gotta come from within. But how do we activate them from self within? You gotta give them space. You gotta let them grow. You gotta let them figure things out on their own and make mistakes. You gotta let them trial and error. And that's only when people learn. I used to kind of get frustrated when we have to go through trial and error through, like, I think I can't remember, like, if you go through trial, but I'm like, it's so clear that you can see that I can see where's the goalpost. It didn't occur to me that this trial and error was vital to whether is it me or whether it was vital to him learning. And then when I realized that, I started shifting the meaning around trial and error. I used to think of it as waste of time, waste of energy, like 逛花园. And then now I realize that it's actually a learning process. It also tests my patience. It tests his patience. And it's something that is good for, again, growth, because challenges is never an easy road. It's never a one-way road. Okay. I have all these notes, but I didn't end up speaking on that. Okay. I don't know how. Okay. So learning how to express in real time is something that a lot of women don't feel safe about. And that's when I say that, is it because you don't feel safe to tell that to yourself? So I started owning a lot of truth. I started saying that, if my partner says something and he said, oh, is it because you find it irritating? I said, yeah, you are right. I find it irritating. I don't like it. I own it. I own it. I own it without shame. I own it without guilt. And sometimes sometimes people can do is that they want to project fear. They want to project their own feelings onto you. But you're like, I own what I say. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I think there was a mantra that I really stood by myself. Mean what I say, and I say what I mean. Okay, because I decided to stop self-censoring. Decided to stop filtering my words just to make the situation seem okay, or like pacify the situation. Even if it means that the things that I say may cause a conflict, I do it anyway. And if I have to fight a battle, I do it. So, it's kind of like fighting for what it's worth. And if it means fighting for my authenticity, fighting for my truth to be said in this relationship, I do it, because that is me fighting for myself. Okay, that's me fighting for myself. And then the next challenge came in when you start to face conflicts. You start to deal with conflicts. And there's three ways what people usually do: fight, flight, or freeze mode. For me, what I do is flight mode. I don't like, I don't like conflicts. I think it's a waste of energy. Okay, I think it's a waste of time. My husband has a lot of energy on that, but I do not. Okay, I always want to go and sleep when I can, because it keeps my mind very peaceful, and I need a lot of energy for the next day. And what I realized that with every conflict that I avoid, or every conflict I'd be like, yeah, or like not speaking my truth, and then when I started, facing up to, like, going through the conflict or going through arguments, but in a very regulated way, in a very present way, emotionally grounded way, it was far more different as to like dramatic fights. It was dramas about, you said this, I said that, or that. It was far more regulated. I started using breathing to regulate myself in that moment, okay, to ground myself, even when I was hearing things that I didn't like for him, or I hear, like, accusations, or maybe I'm hearing some truth from him that is also uncomfortable for me, right? The things that I say may be uncomfortable for other people, but the things that other people say can also be uncomfortable to me to hear, triggering points. But I use breathing to ground myself through that. And afterwards, I realized that, hey, with every regulated conflict, okay, being able to ground myself through intense moments, I became stronger and stronger. I became being able to deal with difficult conversations. I became very, hey, like, we need money for this, which in the past used to be something difficult for me to open my mouth about. That, and then I do it very objectively. So again, it boils back to the original opening in this whole life, where I talk about many jobs make an ocean, many jobs of regulated conflict, many jobs of regulated learning how to keep yourself grounded, present through intense moments, through arguments, disagreements, which are bound to happen, disagreements and difficult situations, intense moments like you said this, I said that, trigger points and all that. And man, the more it adds up and the more you're able to tide yourself through, the stronger you the stronger your expression will be. And that is what we need, because we're not here to self-censor ourselves. We're here to speak what we want and what we deserve, what we want and what we deserve. And sometimes people can, whether I saw this many shots from like this guy who was a relationship expert, and he was talking about how men test unknowingly, that they are actually testing what you truly want. They're testing your values, but they do it unconsciously. They are testing, but they do not know that they are testing, and they do not like, okay, I'm gonna test her today. They don't do that, but through the way how they poke you and like how they trigger you, they want to see your reaction. And that also includes, one of it is very big. One of it is about the man pulling away to his own cave. He having his own space, yes, but he kind of wants to see, are you going to pursue him? Or are you going to retreat to your garden? And the one thing that I always do when there is this silent space between us is so juicy. Why? Because there is developmental work in progress. There's no conflicts. There's no arguments. There's no processing for one another. He's working on himself. I'm working on myself. And we love it. And I always realize what always happens is that I love my juicy time. It is always him who comes back to me and say that, starts the conversation, start the ball rolling. Okay. And I love that. I know that the ball is in my court because I did exactly that. And that is because I have my inner garden. So do you understand? And I hope you do. The importance of having the inner garden. The importance of having your inner garden. All right. So men test unknowingly. They test your boundaries. They test your values. They test what you truly want. Sometimes they will intentionally undercut you to say that, to see whether you're gonna take the bait, to see that whether like you're gonna take the they intentionally undercook the spaghetti to see whether you're gonna send back the spaghetti. And if you are a woman with standards, you're gonna like, oh my gosh, this is shitty noodles. You gotta make it a new one for me. I'm not gonna accept this. Are you gonna say that? Or you're gonna eat his food and say it's the most delicious thing on earth? Then he knows what kind of woman you are, and he's gonna just keep taking advantage, isn't it? Or are you gonna be the one like, what is this? This is rubbish. You're gonna give me better treatment from now on. I'm not gonna accept this. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Okay. And all this adds up into loving the woman from within. That all adds up into self-identity. That all adds up into self-love. So self-love, I used to think like, oh my god, just facial lah, just look good, go to the gym, blah blah blah. But after that, decided, especially this season, I uncovered so much more. Uncovered so much like emotional, mental, physical. Of course, physical, I take care of it the best. Like emotional, mental, okay, boundaries, self-expression is emotional self-love. It's emotional self-love, not abandoning yourself in moments where you need to speak. Okay. And that is where I say that having time away from the family, from the kids, from the husband is vital, because only then can you be very clear that this is this incident that happened today, it wasn't right. What can I do about it next time? I sense that there is something that I sense my intuition acting up and saying that, hey, I don't feel that you deserve to be spoken like that. I don't feel that you deserve to be treated like that. And if you have no realization that you shouldn't be treated like that, there will become a time where everything just explodes. Okay. And you will be like, where is it coming from? It's coming from many incidents of suppression. And that's not healthy, isn't it? That's not healthy. I think that was also one of the things that I fell into the trap for. I had a lot of emotional self-suppression. In the past couple months, I had to do a lot of intentional work, breath work, especially in releasing a lot of resentment. Why I couldn't speak up, whether there was past incidents when I was younger, and I felt like, if I spoke my truth, people will not like me. And I made many reels where I shared about how in society we are told that we cannot be not nice, we have to be considerate, we have to care about other people's feelings, then we are proper girl or women. But the real feminine energy comes from being able to say what you want, okay, and not needing other people to validate, not needing other people to validate to say that, hey, what you say, like even if it triggers other people, but is what you deserve, is what you say is right, that's okay. Like, how do not need to adopt other people's emotions, okay, as your own responsibility. And that was one of the things that I grew up. I unfortunately I was very sharp in saying the things that I wanted to say. I said a lot of things that, oh, sorry. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Here, the mic. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. Maybe no battery already. Ah, yeah. Okay, okay. So can hear already. Yeah. So, so I was very sharp. So growing up, hey, yeah, thanks. Hey, I don't know. You can still listen to me ramble. Okay. So when I grew up, I was spotting a lot of things. You know, I grew up very sharp and like seeing things that was misaligned. I would just point it out now, point it out to people there and then people say, you just keep quiet lah. Why you say this kind of thing? You're so mean. You're so rude. Especially around with girlfriends. Okay, I wasn't the best girlfriend to be around because I said a lot of truth that people may not necessarily like. Oh wait, is it the same? Can you hear? Oh no, wait. Is it? Can you hear? Oh, no more. Okay. Ah yeah, I think no more battery already. Ah yeah, listen to my life lah. Alright. Wait, let me. Ah yeah, send you the video soon. Wait, I send you the video. Okay. No bad liao. Yeah, no bad. Yeah, okay. So anyway, no more battery already. No more battery already. Ramble too much. Okay, so I'm gonna round up already because I'm also quite tired. But thanks for hearing me out, Tan. Yeah, thanks for hearing me out. Talk a lot of nonsense. Talk a lot of my stuff. But yeah. So okay, let me just go down here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. So what did I say? Let me just round up what I kind of lost my train of thoughts. Yeah. But anyway, so loving the woman from the within is all about three areas: emotional, um, emotional, physical, and mental. Okay, and especially for your emotional well-being, is all about authentic self-expression, being able to express your real in real time, and keeping yourself very regulated, even through intense moments. Okay, and of course, letting your man have the space to grow, letting the people around you have the space to grow. I think that's all I have to say. Okay. And really, build the relationship with yourself. Okay. Any things that you see that's not aligned right now in your relationship, there's something that you want more of. It's actually something that you want from yourself first. Build that from yourself first. And then you can see the beautiful fruits ripple in the relationship closest to you. That's all I have today. And bye bye.